Alrighty, we're gonna go over the new car trailer and what all I've done to it so far. This is a 20-foot deck by 82 inches wide. Excuse me. Overall, the whole length of the trailer, including the tongue, pretty much all the way up to the ball where it mounts to the hitch. I think it, from what I remember, I don't remember the measurement exactly. I'm pretty sure it was 24.5 foot is the grand total for length of the trailer. We got about a 2-foot dovetail right here, kind of hard to see at night. The brand is a JMA. It has some decently heavy duty pull-out ramps. I'm not going to pull them out right now, they're really annoying and loud. Latching pins that you can pull out and lock. It only came with 4 tie downs, but it's a steel deck, so we'll definitely be adding more. You could also use the stake pockets as tie downs, not really recommended. We're going to go over some pros and cons of this trailer. Pros, you can get these lights anywhere, and as long as something doesn't come directly into these, you're not going to be able to knock these off very easily. I mean, you'll definitely be able to bend them up, but it's not like the square ones that you get. I'm notorious for knocking those off within a week of putting those on. I've got a little utility trailer that I break them off of all the time. I already threw some aftermarket taillights in there. It's got little markers on the side. That's one of the pros there. Cons, right off the bat with lighting, is there's nothing on the outside of the fender, specifically on the front, so you can't really see much of this trailer in your mirror. Especially if there's going to be something on it. It's going to be hard to see the back side of this trailer at all. Not that you really should be looking in your mirrors too much, but it's nice to know when it's back there, well, at nighttime specifically. Another con of this trailer is I literally hasn't left my property since the day I purchased it. Have not had any cars on here yet or anything. And she's already got quite a bit of rust. I was just underneath it a little while ago, and there's quite a bit of rust underneath already too. The painting out of a 0 to 10 rating is, I'd give it about a 3. Alright, we're going to move inside the garage now towards the tongue. And right away I'm going to show you another con before we get into actually what I have done to modify this trailer. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this, but this is one of the running lights. This is a major con. This is also kind of a personal preference. I don't know if any of you have ever dealt with these. Put my light in a better spot. I don't know if any of you have ever dealt with these in your wiring history, where it just bites into both wires with a little prong. I don't prefer these. These things, they leave open wires at the ends, and as soon as they get wet, they start corroding. I've never had good luck with those. And that's how this whole entire trailer is ran. So that's not how I prefer to run my trailer wiring. I prefer butt connectors on everything, especially heat shrink butt connectors if you've got room for them where you're not going to melt anything else. We'll knock out all the cons here, which that was one of them, but that's not really a big deal. Let me turn this fan off. Now we're going to get into what I have done to change the things that I did not like about this trailer to begin with. And that is, we're going to start with the jack situation. Let me change the direction of this. This is what they had welded in right here in this general area. This is a great idea, bringing it back to here instead of having it right here on the tongue, and I'll explain why in a minute. But this right here is the weld that I ground off of here. This is all the more C-channel they had underneath the side of this frame, which the weld was okay, but I just didn't like that there's almost nothing there. I didn't like the idea of this pushing out of this C-channel here. I didn't like that idea when I have a jack with a car on it. And this is pretty thin. I mean, this is like maybe 1/4 inch C-channel, especially on the flat spot. I didn't like this idea. So I went with 3/8 C-channel, 6-inch. I cut the old one out of there, which is right there. Welded this new one in. The reason that it's placed there instead of in the factory position, which there's nothing wrong with this. This is fine. That does not allow you to drop your tailgate down without setting it on top of your jack. I actually have one of my fingers has got a big old scar on it from me dropping my tailgate. The first time I pulled one of these style jacks on a trailer, I dropped my tailgate down not thinking anything and was holding the tailgate when it came down, and it was coming down fast, and I smashed my finger here. It's not good. These, when you relocate them back here, you can freely lay down your tailgate on your truck while it's hooked up with no problems. It was really close for my truck with it mounting here, but I chose not to. I saw that they already had that there. It was a good idea, so I just replaced what they had and went with it. This thing right here, I'm deciding to not go with a manual crank jack on this trailer. I have upgraded. Before I even got to use that one, I had ripped it off and upgraded to this thing, which did come with this cover. Not sure why the lights are on. I must have just turned those on when I pulled the cover off. Upgraded to this thing, which this is not part of that, obviously. This is actually a Vevor jack. It's a 4,000 pound jack, which if I have more than 4,000 pounds on the tongue of this trailer, there's going to be a bigger problem to deal with. This thing is almost painfully slow, but it's going to be kind of hard to show in the video. But it will get the job done. This jack was somewhere around 120 bucks total, shipped to the house on Amazon. It's got 4 different leg adjustments. This is all the way down right now at the lowest setting. And it comes, I mean, it's probably got a 6-inch lift on that leg that you can come up and set that pin in. It'll be probably 6 inches higher. If you look up Vevor 4,000 pound trailer electric jack, you can see more information on that. It does come with a fuse and a decently long pigtail wire harness. I did have to extend it to get to my batteries, which we'll get into in a minute. Which leads me to the next thing, which I forgot to mention the framework that I had to build for this thing, because I know a lot of people were looking into that. So now that we've knocked out talking about the C-channel, the jack, and the locationing, and all that fun stuff, we're going to move on to what I did to mount my winch and my toolbox. We went with, let me get to the side. Went with 2x4 square rectangular tubing. This is 1/4 inch thick. This is exactly mounted the distance apart of the bolts underneath the winch there. The 2 bolts on the one side and then the 2 bolts on the far side. That is exactly lined up dead center with the 2 winch bolts. This video is already 10 minutes long. Nobody's going to want to watch this long, but oh well. Then I realized once I lifted it 4 inches to match the deck height that my Fairlead, which is this fancy guy here, is with the winch plate, the universal winch plate that's inside the toolbox, which I'll look at in a minute. I realized that this is going to sit 1 inch-ish below the toolbox level, which was going to run into a problem because the bottom of this toolbox would have been directly at the deck level, which it is. You could see where it would have been is at the direct bottom of the toolbox. Sorry, my heater is trying to turn on there, so I just shut that off. That'll be shutting off in a second here. So what I did to alleviate the problem where I was 1 inch too short was I added some 1 inch steel, 1 inch solid, 1 by 4 inches wide. So this is 1 inch thick right here and 4 inches wide here. Solid steel plate welded on top of my 2x4 framing, and I put 4 of those in, and those 2 middle ones, this one and the next one, are also included in the bolting for the winch mounting, which I decided to opt for drilling holes in the bottom big enough to fit the socket through and mounting the winch to the top surface of this steel here, the top surface of the steel, and then there's holes blasted through this 1x4 going up to the bottom of the toolbox, and then the bolts go from in this pipe into the winch. So that's how it's mounted. I will show more once we get inside the toolbox. I think we're ready to actually get inside the toolbox. This is just a demonstration to show you what the pipe was before it was painted, because it's kind of hard to see. Move that out of the way. Now we will get into the toolbox. To start the toolbox talk, we're going to start with the 7-way cable. This is another thing I was not a fan of from... Oh, by the way, the place I bought this was Forget the Tow Trailer Sales on Main Street in Hebron. There's the tag for them. The other thing I didn't like, I'm not sure if they're assembling these on site or if they're buying these. The guy kind of made it sound like they're building them on site there, but I'm not knocking them at all. It's just they're putting together trailers and sending them out as quick as they can, and some of the stuff is shortcutted for sure. And the 7-way cable, which was only 4 wires technically, when I got it, was not ideal. So what I did was I bought, this is going to lead to our first thing inside the toolbox, a 7-way cable with a junction box end. And that 7-way cable also came with this fancy little hold down thingy here, which will keep your plug end facing down so you can't get any water in there to short your system out. Especially if you have batteries in your trailer, because one of these pins is hot, and if it touches ground, it'll start shorting stuff out on the trailer, unless you put a shut-off switch in, which I have not done yet. This did come with a cover, and it also has a light on it. The jack shines down on your hitch. It's not the brightest thing in the world, but that was one of the selling points for me when I bought the jack. By the way, Harbor Freight sells this in a 1,000-pound heavier duty form, with no jack light for about $100 more than what I paid for this one. And this one does the job just fine. This also came with a manual crank, which I'm going to have to modify because as of right now, when I try cranking it, it smacks right into the toolbox. So I got to extend that manual crank to make it taller. Or I can just carry around a 10 mil ratchet with me, 10 mil socket, because that's what that drive is a 10 mil drive. This is the extra bar that came with the jack. That's going to be stored in here as a just in case for now. The 7-way cable with the junction box end on it is this. You can buy this on Amazon. It's got multiple different lengths of cable. This one is an 8-foot cable and it fits perfectly on this trailer. You got to follow the directions kind of closely here, because the way they have these color coded and the way they bring them in, the colors here, there's only 2 here that match technically for the color coding on a vehicle or on a normal trailer. Your green is your right turn signal, your brown is your running lights, and your yellow is your left turn signal. And that yellow for left turn signal is on a red. They call it red, but it's pink on here. Excuse me again. The running lights are on the green one, which you would think would be the right turn signal, which is here, that mounted to brown, which should be the running lights. These two are flipped. But that's how they have it ran. This is how it's in the 7-way cable, and of course, fortunately, this is not changeable, if you will. So whenever this gets damaged, I'll end up fixing these wires to where what it's supposed to be. And then changing the wires inside the box as well to what they're supposed to be. The brakes line up right. They're blue when they come in from the 7-way cable, and they're supposed to be blue on here, but that's not right. The color on the trailer is not right for that one. And the ground is white that when it comes in from the 7-way, and it's my white on the trailer was actually right. That was one of them that matched. And then my white for my other stuff that I'll talk about in a second. This black post here, that comes in from your 7-way cable. That is your 12-volt constant from your battery. This technically, if you want to call it a trickle charger, when you're running your vehicle, it runs whatever voltage your alternator's pushing is what's coming through this stud. So in turn with that, I really don't need a trickle charger unless this thing's going to sit for months on end, which it's probably never going to do. But I've got ground cable and a hot cable coming out of here. And the hot cable comes from that stud where the 12 volt from the battery is coming from the trailer, or from the truck when it's hooked up. I've got that running over here to the battery stud. And that's the positive, obviously, and this is the negative. So I will be charging these batteries at all times because my jumper wires, there's a positive here, and then there's a negative here. Positive, negative, those come under here, down here, over to this side. This is just the cover for that. And it came with different size grommets for, well, different grommets to plug or unplug these holes that it has in it. That's just the cover for that and the grommets. But the battery over here, and this is just for more amps to the winch so it doesn't bog down as bad. Still 12 volt system, just ran dual battery setup. What else? Tomorrow I will be adding to this pin, which is the reverse lights. I'm also tomorrow I'm going to be adding some deck lights. I'm probably going to mount them to this toolbox right here, to this little lip. They'll be shining on the deck. I'm also going to put in a 3-way switch, well, technically a 2-way switch on the reverse lights, so I can turn those on even when the reverse light, or even when the truck is not in reverse. I'm going to throw a switch in here to switch that on when I want it to be, and also turn the switch back to where it'll turn on when the truck is in reverse. The wiring organization method, no, you're probably not really going to care much about that, but it's these little guys. These are double-sided sticky tapes. You could buy these at Walmart. This is where I got these. They're all the way in the back of the store, kind of hidden at my store. They're cable tie mounting bases. These are designed for zip ties to go through either here or here. You can also screw in or rivet these or whatever you want to do. If you just poke a hole through that backer, you can screw these in so that they're more permanent. Because I have a feeling in the summertime I'm going to come out here and these are all going to be off, but they're out of the way and they look nice for now. Next matter of business we have is, I guess we could talk about that. Where I brought my 7-way cable in and ran my other cables out to all the lights, and this is actually for the jack up front there. I ran it in here so I can run it whenever without a truck hooked up, I can still run it. This right here is an old piece of radiator hose. With a hose clamp on it to keep this from moving down, and then I've got a hose clamp on the outside of here that keeps it from moving up. Not that it really ever would, but just in case. This is going to keep these wires from chafing on this. I mean, it's not really sharp, but the edge of the aluminum here will definitely dig into those wires over time. Also went and bought a snatch block. I'm not sure if I'm really ever going to need it, but I'd rather have it just in case. Next thing, I kind of went a little overboard here. You might have already seen it if you know anything about these. That's where your remote's supposed to plug in. I went ahead and got a wireless, which is going to be pretty nice. And you can see it's just got a little bit of delay to it, which I'm not used to, but it is what it is. The fancy thing about this right here is that it's magnetic. There's a con to this remote. It's got a button cell battery. They're pretty easy to get. It's one of the CR 2032s, and it takes 2 of them. You could also, I don't know if you noticed, there's a cable in here. This is designed specifically for the bottom of this remote. And you plug this in, you rip your wireless receiver out right here. You take that out, you plug that end in that's on that cable, which is right here, and then you put that in the bottom of this, and then this other little light lights up, and then you're free to use this as a wired remote instead, just in case these batteries die. It's the only sucky part about this is this isn't even rechargeable. You would think it would be, but it's not. It is what it is. It does have a cover on it. I'm not sure if they're trying to say this isn't really waterproof or not, but I think this is worth it. This is on sale. It was $10 off. I think I paid, I want to say it was $49 or $59, and they're usually $10 more than that. Press this button down. It turns off in 2 minutes automatically, but just to be sure it's not going to do anything goofy when it's in the case, I like to turn it off here because I don't have an on-off switch on this yet, but I will soon. That way this thing can't do any damage to the trailer or try to suck itself in and make a mess. I don't need all that. So I'll be adding a switch to that because that is an older style winch. It's not the newer ones because the newer ones do have switches on them. The only thing holding this toolbox in, oh, I forgot to mention that. These are semi-batteries. These are semi-starting batteries. These are not deep cycle, which I may switch to deep cycles, but the other trailer that I've been using, car trailer, has had the same set of batteries in it for years, and it's got this same setup. So I think I'm going to stick with this for a while. Another thing that kind of blended in, so I didn't talk about it, was these. These are just pieces of old bed frame that I found on the side of the road. I made some little some little channels for the batteries to sit in, and these things are actually, with this specific toolbox, these things are actually locked in here pretty good. I can't even really, you got to yank it to get it out of there. So if these come out of their little saddles that I got going on, I'm probably going to have bigger problems to worry about. But I made one for this side, one for this side, and bolted them straight through the box. This is also bolted through the box. I'm not too worried about water intrusion. I mean, I don't really think I'm going to have much of a problem with that. The box came from Tractor Supply. I'm sure you guys seen that already. This is a little bit of a pricey box. I'm going to remind everybody who's going to watch this video to make sure that you use Amazon to your advantage. They have a lot of this stuff on Amazon that I just showed you for, well, half of this stuff did come from Amazon. But look for these little zip tie things on Amazon. They're going to be pretty cheap. The snatch block's probably really cheap on Amazon. This wireless remote, we looked them up. They weren't too much cheaper. Especially if you go with the cheaper one from Harbor Freight. They're like almost the same price. What else? Oh, cable. I got the cable from O'Reilly's. They had it in a spool there. They sell it by the foot. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Definitely tested my welding skills on this. Haven't really done enough stick welding to call myself good at it. There's some shavings in there. But I did this one, I did this right here, this right here, and this right here, and I did the same thing on the other side. I was not able to get anything on this one because it's a little tight in there. But I think we're good. Used some 7018 welding rod on it. Don't really think it's going anywhere, but we will soon find out. I'll be putting the first vehicle on it here in a couple days. It'll be an F250 or F350 single wheel. Does not have an engine in it right now. It's having a 7.3 built for it. And we have to take it to that shop. It's my friend's brother's truck. And he wants us to take it to the shop for him that he's building the engine at. And that'll be happening here in a couple days. If you guys want to know how that goes, I'm sure I'll be posting that on my Snapchat story. But yes, that's this. It's an overview of this trailer, kind of some pros and cons to it. What I've changed right off the bat. Price point for this trailer, it is by far the cheapest 20-foot steel deck car trailer you're going to get. I don't know how long they're going to have these things on sale, but they said, or they do have them on sale for the same exact price as their 16-foot steel deck car trailers, which they pretty much don't even carry anymore. I'm not really sure why. They said that they pretty much only do custom orders for those. But, yeah, so that's this thing in a nutshell. It does only come with a 2-inch ball, which I was kind of freaking out about because every car trailer that I've ever had was 2 5/16, but this one also says 12,000 pound tongue weight, or 1,200 pound tongue weight, and 8,000 pound gross trailer weight. So I don't know what they were smoking when they put that together and said that it can hold 8,000 pounds, but I've never seen a 2-inch coupler piece there that says it can handle 8,000 pounds. Anything else I'm trying to think of? I love the black wheels. Absolutely love the black wheels. It makes this thing look nice and sleek. The axles are made in the United States. The trailer, I'm almost 100% sure, is assembled in the United States. If they don't do it on site there in Hebron, I would be surprised.